Hi, my name is Jenny. I live in Indiana with my husband Tim and my two kids, Abby, who's 17, and Eric, who's 11. I work as an assistant at a local elementary school, where my husband happens to be a fourth grade teacher, and both my kids went. Um, my incident took place February 17th, 2022. I was subbing in a second grade classroom, and the kids happened to be at music, and I was grading papers for the teacher and just going about my day, and all of a sudden I felt a really, really sharp chest pain. And at first, I honestly thought it was just, heartburn or something. So I took an antacid. I happened to have one in my purse. Took an antacid, and it still was getting really intense and wasn't going away. I got up and walked a little bit, thinking, well, maybe I just need to walk. And I texted Tim saying, there's something wrong. Can you come down here? He didn't answer right away, so I called him down from his classroom, even though he was teaching. I just knew something was going on. So he came down and said, "What's going on?" I said, I have really, really, really bad chest pain. I can't. It's not getting better. It's getting worse." So he helped me lay down on the ground. He called the nurse. She comes down with the principal. They just are debating do we need to take an ambulance? I'm like, no, I don't want an ambulance. I just want to go. Tim can take me. So they give me a wheelchair because at this point I can't move. I can't. The pain is too much. I knew I couldn't walk to the door, and so they get me in a wheelchair and he gets me to the car, and so all the way to the hospital, I'm saying, I want to go home. I just want to go home and lay down. And he said, no, we need to go. So we go, and we get to the hospital and the emergency room, and they tell me, they go through everything. They do some, at first they didn't think it was my heart. And by this time, my back is hurting real bad, and I'm saying, I just want to lay down. I just want to lay down. My back hurts. My chest is, hurting. So it just, so they finally they're sending stuff off to the hospital in Indianapolis, and they finally figure out that they think it's some fluid, and then they figure out I have a dissection. So they're trying to figure out, I know the helicopter was mentioned, but it was spitting snow, so they're going to have to put me in the ambulance, and they did some stuff during that time, but I'm in and out of consciousness. I don't I don't know what's going on a lot of the time. I just remember them mentioning surgery and that we need to get to Indianapolis right away. It was something, that we need to go right away. So that's the last thing I remember. After that, the next thing I remember is I kind of remember waking up after the surgery a little bit, saying my chest hurt, and that, my parents were there, my sisters, and Tim was there. I kind of remember that. What makes my story unique is the next day after surgery, I had a stroke because of the dissection. They think my body was just trying to reset itself so much, and it was down so low. They basically said when I got to the hospital, I was basically had no blood pressure. So the surgeon, put me on bypass right away, and they were able to fix it. But I was so low, they think that my body just was trying to catch up, and when it did it jolted it, causing a stroke, which affected my right side of my brain and my lower spine, which affected my legs. So that was something else I had to contend with. And then after the stroke, I was in a coma for about 4 days. I woke up, that surgery was on Thursday. I woke up on Tuesday. They didn't know why I wasn't waking up. They didn't understand, what I understand. They were trying to wake me up. They did all the tests and everything. Then finally I woke up on Tuesday, and of course I'm confused. I don't understand what's going on. It took me a while to comprehend, a little bit, okay, I was asleep, now I'm awake. So they've got me off the vent. I had collapsed lung because of the surgery. So they did get me off the vent because they had to incubate me again after the stroke. So then I started waking up and started getting things moving there, and I was in the ICU in Indianapolis for about 10 days, I believe it was. And then they moved me to a regular room after 7 days, or for 7 days. And then because of the stroke, then I ended up in a rehab hospital for 15 days. So it was a long, long haul. It was, if I had not had the stroke, I think I would have been home sooner. I think the surgeon, even at that time, was telling us, let's just take one day at a time. Let's see how things go. And I think he was just happy that I got through the surgery. So the stroke kind of played in there. And then once I was a little stronger, they tried to get me to walk and to move. And that's when they decided to send me to rehab. So I did that. And so the cardiac part of the recovery was kind of foreshadowed by the stroke, walking, getting my legs to work again, kind of rehab. I still have trouble with my legs. I don't walk with a normal gait still. I did a lot of, once I was out of rehab, I did physical therapy twice a week all summer, pretty much till school started again. But I was able to go back to school. I have a cane now that I use outside of the house. In the house, I can get around. I use a cane to get around school. I went back to school in August. I use a cane just because it makes it easier, and my legs tire out a little easier now. So that's the main part. The cardiac part, I see the cardiologist every 6 months and the surgeon every year. And so I've gotten the all clear with that. Of course, I take my medicines and stuff. That's kind of my recovery. I haven't had any post-traumatic stuff. There was one day a little kindergartner, had a seizure, and I had to wait. I happened to be up there, so I had to wait for the ambulance. And I was going to let the ambulance people in, and that kind of upset me a little bit. I kind of had to take a few minutes to just kind of upset. I don't even remember the ambulance at all. Riding the ambulance, I didn't even know if I took the ambulance or the helicopter by the time I woke up. But for some reason, saying that the professionals come in and the emergency situation, that really bothered me, especially with a child. I don't know if all of that kind of, that's the only really post-traumatic stuff I've had. Most of my stuff has now been dealing with my inability to do the things that I used to be able to do, and walking and stuff. We like Disney World a lot, and not being able to go on roller coasters has been a bummer. But compared to where it could have been, I'm pretty blessed and everything. My advice to anyone who's newly going through this situation or their caregivers is pray, look to God. He is that. If I didn't have my faith, I don't think we could have gotten through this. Honestly, don't know how people who don't have any kind of relationship with God can get through something like this. My family and the people that have prayed for me, that has been, that made all the difference in the world. And I know that's the reason I'm sitting here today. And I truly believe that. And I think that if anybody's going through this now, you take it a day at a time, do what they tell you to do, but also listen to your body. So it's kind of a paradox. You have to listen to your body and do what you physically can do, but you also, there's that part of you that you have to push forward. If you just sit around and don't do anything or don't do the exercises or don't try, then you won't get better. And, and just keep living. I mean, you can't sit on the couch and just throw a pity party. You have to move on. You have to go on. And it was hard for me to do that at first. I didn't want to go back to school, to be honest. That part was hard. I wanted to just, I don't like a lot of attention put on me, so that was really hard. But I don't. But I knew that it was important for me to move on and to go on and that God had seen me through that for a reason. So to push through and to move on and to realize you're inspiring somebody out there. Whether you realize it or not, whether you believe it or not, God saved you for a purpose, and you won't know that. You might not know that until you get to heaven, but you were saved for a purpose, and that just take it a day at a time and move on and do what they tell you. Listen to your body, and don't give up. It has been a interesting year, to say the least. It's gone quickly, but other ways it's gone slowly. But I'm grateful for obviously my faith in God and all He's done and blessed me with. My family, Tim being my caretaker, taking me to all my appointments and my physical therapy and stuff. So I really appreciate that. Thank you for listening, and I wish you all the best. God bless.